Okay, lights, camera, action. Let's do Gainsight. Of all the platforms in this series, Gainsight is the one that treats your community as a customer success engine rather than a marketing channel or a customer support channel. And that shapes everything it does well and everything it doesn't do well. It's also one of the three platforms alongside Higher Logic Vanilla and Discourse I see Khoros communities moving to most often. So in this episode, I'll run through the same 9 capability scorecard I've used in the other videos, so you can compare them like for like. But I want to begin with the history, because the story how this platform got here tells you a lot about whether it's the right bet for you. Gainsight, as you probably know, sells more than one thing, and it's easy for buyers to mix them up. There's Gainsight CS, which is the original platform, the one their customer success managers work in. Then there's Gainsight Customer Education, which is the learning side, which now includes Skilljar, the training platform they bought, I think, last year. And then there's Gainsight Customer Communities. Now, Gainsight Customer Communities was formerly Insided, which is the product I'm reviewing here. And when we talk about customer communities, it's really important to understand this is about the community platform, not about the rest of the platform. The success side does matter, but it matters a lot later, because it's where the account value features come from. But customer communities is its own product with its own admin. To understand this platform, you have to understand why a customer success company bought it. Insided began in Amsterdam, and for years it only ever built communities. And it served both sides of the market, B2B SaaS, but also many big B2C brands as well, especially like telcos and customer communities like T-Mobile and Sonos. And it grew slowly at first and deliberately across Europe. And then, after many years, they really began expanding out internationally. It wasn't a general forum that bolted on support features later. It was built from the start for companies running real customer communities. It was a genuine Lithium or Khoros competitor, and you could feel that focus all the way through the product. So come 2021, Gainsight acquired Insided, and the reason is the whole thesis of the company. The argument from Nick Mehta, who was Gainsight CEO at the time, was that net revenue retention is the single biggest driver of where software companies value, and the best way to scale retention is to bring customers into the success process through a community where they help each other. And then they stay because of that community. So Insided didn't really get bolted on as a side product. It got slotted in next to Gainsight's customer success and product experience tools as the community layer that connects the whole journey. But the question for any acquired product is whether the new owner invests in it or lets it drift. Because we've seen plenty of examples where community platforms are acquired and then they're abandoned. And from the signs and signals we've seen since, Gainsight has invested in the product. The platform has really picked up analyst recognition, kept growing its customer base, and shipped real features rather than just slideware. But the biggest signal is the team. In 2025, Gainsight made 2 acquisitions aimed squarely at community. One was the acquisition of Erica Cool Consulting. The other was a moderation tooling company called ModerateKit. And Erica Cool was put in charge of the combined community learning and in-app unit. If the name doesn't ring a bell, it really should. Erica built Salesforce Trailblazer community from the ground up, and she built it into one of the largest customer communities on the planet over 17 years. And over the past year, especially since Khoros was acquired and the turmoil they've gone through, a lot of the very best people at Khoros, those who built the best Khoros communities on the product, had now been hired at Gainsight. So between that and Erica Cool, I really think Gainsight is probably the strongest community team in the business. And for a multi-year bet, that matters as much as almost any feature. So let's go through the features, and let's begin with Ideation, which I score an 8. I think it's the best ideation of any community platform in this series. The fair question is whether it actually deserves that, because Khoros has good ideation boards too, but here's what separates Gainsight. On the basics, they're really close. Voting, they've got a configurable status pipeline, product area tagging. I set mine up in the admin as under review, planned, shipped, and won't build, and it works cleanly. The thing Gainsight does that others don't do as well is they tie ideas to the customer accounts behind it. On the product feedback dashboard, you can filter ideas by company and see the revenue behind a request, not just a vote count. You can rank ideas against account and ARR. For a B2B SaaS company, where 10 votes from your 3 biggest accounts matters more than 50 from free users, that's a huge difference. So what it does well is connect product feedback to money. What's missing is that the account value needs to connect to your CRM data. In the instance I checked, it was wired to Salesforce, but HubSpot and other CRMs are supported as well, and obviously Gainsight will be supported. But the dollar value isn't sitting out there out the box, you really have to connect it. And this is probably the best ideation amongst community platforms out there today, but it isn't as good as a dedicated product feedback tool. I honestly think ideation still has a long way to go on a lot of platforms, and if feeding the roadmap is the whole job, something built only for that like Pendo or Product Board might go a lot deeper. Let's move on to AI. AI I score an 8 as well, and I think it's probably got the broadest AI suite of any platform in this series. So let me explain what I actually mean by broadest, because I think every vendor is going to claim this. I mean the widest spread of distinct AI features in one product. Not one clever trick, but let's go through what some of these are. There's Write with AI for drafting content, there's AI community recaps and topic summaries as well. And there are 4 working agents underneath, one for moderation, one for search, one for translation, and one for support answers. Most platforms in this series have 2, maybe 3 AI features. Gainsight has the full spread at this point, and it runs on both the admin side and on the member side. The translation agent, for example, is another one I'd point to, because it's quite rare a community that answers and reads across languages without you running it twice. On top of that, there's a community MCP now in beta, which lets outside AI assistants like Claude or ChatGPT pull information from your community in a structured way. Discourse has this too. It's not unique to Gainsight, but it is another useful feature as well. What's maybe missing is that track record. All of this is still very new. The MCP is still in beta, and how well the agents perform depend entirely on your setup and the content. The breadth is genuinely ahead of the market, but the proof is still being written here. Okay, let's move on to moderation. I also score moderation an 8, and it's worth saying exactly why, because the score sits at the top of the table. It's up there with Khoros and Discourse. What it does well comes down to 3 things. 1, there's an AI moderation agent that auto-classifies posts as they come in, so the obvious spam and abuse gets caught before a human looks at it. There's profile level moderation that removes the spam account, not just the spam posts. And then there's Write with AI, helping your team review and reply to messages. And underneath that sits the standard kit, a rules engine, pre-moderation of new members, watchwords, and a live review queue. So why is this better than vanilla, which I gave a 7? I think vanilla has fantastic tools, bot detection, suggested tags, sentiment analysis, but it doesn't have a moderation agent doing that first pass classification. Gainsight does both. It's this level with Discourse, which also scores an 8, but it gets there differently. Discourse leans on trust levels that auto-promote your most reliable members and quietly take the load off your team, plus a deep plugin ecosystem. Gainsight leans on a more managed turnkey AI agent that works out of the box. So where does it fail? Where does Gainsight fall short of being the outright best? Gainsight doesn't have that trust level auto promotion in the way that Discourse does. So it doesn't reduce the moderation load automatically as members earn trust, and there's still no thread level merge or split. That's what keeps it joint top instead of being the clear winner. Next, let's look at content and knowledge, which is also an 8. This is where I think Gainsight pulls slightly ahead of vanilla. What it does well is a couple of things. It has a proper knowledge base, smart search, content rating so members can mark what actually helped, and a product updates hub for release notes. But the thing that moves it ahead is embedded education. Every platform in this series, vanilla included, lost a point on content for the same reason. None of them really did courses. Gainsight now does. Through the Skilljar integration they shipped this year, courses, certifications, and learning paths sit inside the community with one login access across the entire academy and the community, and a single AI search across community articles and discussions. You can see it live on Cognite and Pipefy, where the academy sits right in the community. What's missing though is that the courses come through Skilljar, which is a separate product. So the lead is biggest if you're already buying into Gainsight's learning side. The community content on its own probably about matches where vanilla is today. The next one isn't one of the 9, but it's becoming one of the most important questions to ask any vendor. How far can you shape the platform without hiring developers for 6 months? I think HighLogic Vanilla has really led here for a while because it's got the widget builder, which is a code editor built into the product. This year, Gainsight shipped its answer, which is Developer Studio. You can build and version custom widgets in GitHub or describe what you want in plain language and have it write the code with proper staging and production environments and full edit history. Until this year, this was a clear vanilla advantage. I don't think it is anymore. I think they are equal with one another. But this raises the question, what would you actually build with it? And there's no real shortage of things you can build. You could replace the generic welcome to our community homepage with a search bar and the single most useful unanswered question for whoever's looking. You could add a best answer of the week panel that quotes a real member solution. You could build a scorecard showing the median time to a first peer answer and the share of questions solved by members rather than staff. You could actually prove to members the community is working. You could pull your live instance from your status page into a banner or at the top right of a category. Or you could put a badge or member profile showing their plan or account health from your CRM. But here's a negative worth mentioning here. Developer Studio lets you add custom widgets, but the platform underneath it is opinionated and purpose-built. This isn't the build anything flexibility that maybe we could argue Salesforce Experience Cloud has or Discourse has, or maybe even better mode as well. The information architecture is deliberately shallow. The content types are fixed and the deeper theming is limited. So there's a trade at work here. You give up some flexibility to get a product that's faster to stand up and harder to break. But if your plan is to bend the community into a shape it was never designed for, this is not the most flexible tool on the list. And now we have the 3 scores in the middle, where Gainsight does okay. With discussions and Q&A, I score this a 7. It's got the 5 distinct content types, a real Q&A type with best answer marketing votes, and a rich editor as well. It's good. What's missing is probably the modern forum polish that Discourse has, that read position tracking, real-time presence, and that thread merge and split. With analytics, I score it a 7. It's got dedicated dashboards for content, users, Q&A, audience engagement, and product feedback with search analytics in beta as well. And most of these need no integration at all. What it doesn't give you is a build your own dashboard tool the way vanilla does, and the account value layer needs your CRM connected. Now gamification. I give gamification a 6 for Gainsight. It has the same full points, badges, and ranks model as most platforms, and it works. It just isn't a reason to choose the platform, and it lacks that trust level auto promotion that vanilla and Discourse use to turn gamification into less moderation work. The 2 lowest scores, again, and this is a common theme throughout the series, are events and mobile. Mobile I score a 3. There isn't really a native app here, it's just a responsive web. Events is a 4. There's registration, RSVPs, and attendee management, they're in there. But there's no streaming, no ticketing, no speaker management or anything like that. And as I mentioned, these are the same 2 weak spots that vanilla and other platforms has. And Gainsight does score a little high on them, but this is more of a category pattern than a Gainsight issue. And almost nobody chooses a community platform for its events tooling or its mobile app. And if you're going to, Gradual and other platforms will be a better fit there. For support and product community, which is what this is built for, neither of these things are likely to be decisive. So here's the whole scorecard in one place. There are 4 scores at the top: AI, moderation, ideation, and content. I score these all an 8. There's that solid middle in discussions, analytics, and gamification, and 2 low scores in events and mobile that it shares with vanilla. Put it all together and you get a genuine all-rounder with a clear identity and a community platform built for customer success. And this isn't an unproven platform, and the numbers say that very clearly. On the B2B side, Miro's community has over 100,000 members. Zapier's has around 67,000, I think. Sprout Social, I think around 20,000. And then there's Gong, Cognite, Pipefy, Devo alongside them. On the B2C side, it still powers big consumer brands like T-Mobile. These are exactly the kinds of companies it was built for, and you can walk any of them right now to see the product in the wild. So you should buy Gainsight if you're B2B SaaS. Your community is there for support, deflection, and product feedback, and you want a roadmap tied to your customer accounts. It's an easy call if you already run Gainsight on the success side, because that's where the account context comes from. Look elsewhere if you need a native mobile app, if events are the center of your community, or if you want to build a more bespoke, customized experience where something like Discourse probably gives you a lot more room. And here's one thing to weigh that isn't on the feature list. Being part of Gainsight cuts both ways. If you already run Gainsight, this is close to a no-brainer. The account context and the success alignment just works, and it's a natural fit. But if you're not a Gainsight customer, that same tight coupling can be off-putting. You might worry it'll pull you into the whole Gainsight suite over time, or that the best of it, the account value features, the success integration is really meant for people already in that world, and you'll be missing out if you're not. Now, you can run customer communities on its own, and plenty of companies do. But its identity is so tied to Gainsight that it reads as a bigger commitment than just a community tool. That helps it with existing Gainsight customers, but I think works against it with many other customers. So here's the version you can screenshot and take into any room that you're in. You should pick Gainsight Customer Communities if product feedback, support deflection, and customer success alignment are the job, especially if you already run Gainsight on the success side. You should pick maybe Higher Logic Vanilla if you want the cleanest question to answer knowledge loop for support. Pick Discourse if your community is discussion-led and more technical. And if events are the whole point, look at Bevy or Gradual. If you're leaving Khoros, the real question isn't whether to go, it's which of those three you land on. And for a customer success community, this is a very strong answer. So that's Gainsight Customer Communities, the community platform built for customer success, strong on AI, moderation, and ideation, and now content as well. And with its 2 weak spots, the same as other vendors as well. If your community is designed to feed your product and your customer success team, Gainsight probably belongs at the top of your list.